All right, good morning. We are here. Shoot, hang on one second. We are here for joint committee hearing, committees on energy and environmental protection, and committee on labor and tourism. It is Thursday, February 3rd, 2022 at 9 a.m. And we have one bill on our agenda today, House Bill 1645, relating to the environment. This prohibits lodging establishments from providing single-use toiletries and plastic bottles. And first up to testify this morning, we have Department of Health.
Good morning, Chair Lowen and Chair Onishi, as well as Vice Chairs Martin and Sayama. My name is Michael Burke, and I'm with the Department of Health's Office of Solid Waste Management. We submitted written testimony commenting on HB 1645, and we stand on our written testimony, but we'll be here after if you have any questions.
Thank you. And Hawaii Tourism Authority? With comments, Fairwinds Cruises, Melinda Dent. In support, Lauren Blickley, Surfrider Foundation.
Mahalo, Chair Lowen, Vice Chair Martin, Chair Onishi, and Vice Chair Sayama. At HTA, we believe that by establishing a reasonable implementation timeframe for providing support to our local small business community and requiring the industry to self-certify through this legislation would be able to help address and resolve the issue at hand. We stand by our testimony as submitted and will remain for questions if necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. And then back to Surfrider Foundation. In support, Conservation Council for Hawaii. In support, and then we have additional 6 individuals in support and 1 in opposition. Is there anyone else here to testify on this measure? If not, members of EEP, any questions? If not, I'll turn it over to you, Chair Onishi.
Yes, members of the Labor and Tourism Committee, do you have any questions? Okay, if not, then we'll pass it back to you, Chair Lloyd.
Thanks. I think we're just going to go straight into decision making. So we were going to make a few amendments to this bill. We want to amend the dates on page 2 to 2025 for the larger establishments and 2027 for smaller establishments. And then we will pass it out in that form. Guess we'll go ahead and take the vote for EEP and then pass it over to tourism. So Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, go ahead.
So the Chair recommends passing HB 1645 with amendments. Chair, Vice Chair vote aye. Representative Hashem. Excused. Representative Matayoshi.
Aye.
Representative Peruso.
Aye.
Representative Todd. Excused. Representative Tokioka.
Reservations. Thank you for moving the date out, but I still have reservations. Thank you.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
I was but I'm here. Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Representative Todd. Representative Matsumoto. Aye. Thank you. So, Chair, your recommendation is adopted. Thank you.
Thank you. And then over to the Committee on Labor and Tourism.
As for the Labor and Tourism Committee, Vice Chair Sayama, can you take the vote?
Recommendation of the chair is to pass with amendments. Chair, Vice Chair vote aye. Representative Bellotti. Excused. Representative Holt.
Aye.
Representative Kobayashi.
Aye.
Representative Quinlan. Excused. Representative Takayama.
Aye.
Representative Okimoto.
Reservations, please.
With reservations. Thank you, Chair. Your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Lowen. Looks like we have a bill.
Thank you, Chair Nishi, and we're adjourned. All right, reconvening, or not reconvening, but we are starting the 9:05 hearing for Committee on Energy and Environmental Protection, February 3rd, 9:05 a.m., room 325. We have a lot of bills on the agenda today relating to waste management and plastic waste. So we will be talking trash today, as my vice chair said earlier. And first on the agenda, we have House Bill 1640 relating to recycling. This is an update to the state's electronic waste law. And first on the agenda to testify, we have Department of Health.
Good morning, Chair Lowen and Vice Chair Martin. Again, my name is Michael Burke. I'm with the Department of Health's Office of Solid Waste Management. We submitted testimony in support of this of HB 1640, and we're here for questions if you have any after.
Thank you. And next up, we have Hawaii County of Department of Environmental Management. With testimony in support, Lois Crozer. In support, Gerard Silva. In opposition, Sana Berrig. In support, Georgine Adams. In support, Ted Bolin. In support, Chris C., no last name, in support, and James Trujillo. Is there anyone else here to testify on this measure? If not, members, any questions? Okay, if not, we will move on to the next bill on the agenda relating to environmental protection, and this has to do with certain types of food packaging containing PFAS chemicals and firefighting foams that contain these chemicals. And first up, we have Department of Health.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and committee members. My name is Greg Edwards. I'm with the Department of Health, Food and Drug Branch. The department stands on our written testimony offering comments. I will be available for any questions.
Thank you. And Hawaii Restaurant Association, Victor Lim.
Good morning, Chair Lowen and Vice Chair Martin and members of the committee. I just want to say that the 3,400 restaurants here in Hawaii supports the intent of HB 1644 that will eliminate PFAS by 2023. And the only caveat that we have with is that, you know, due to the COVID pandemic and stuff like that, the whole supply chain has been turned upside down. And many of the even basic containers and things, we're having a hard time getting the manufacturers to even get the proper raw materials to produce the products on a timely basis. As you know, the both Oahu and Maui have to suspend the implementation of the disposable foodware ordinance purely because our supply chain just cannot meet the demand or time schedule to provide the restaurants with the correct packaging. And really, so we really would like to ask the committee to please consider pushing it back towards the ending part of 24 for this bill implementation date. So it just gives us a little bit breathing space to be able to do the right things for our community. Thank you very much, and I'm available for any comments or questions that you might have.
Thank you. And then we have Surfrider Foundation. We have Surfrider Foundation. In support, Zero Waste Hawaii. In support, Hawaii Reef and Ocean Coalition. In support, Suzanne Frazier with the organization Beach. In support,
Good morning, Chair Lowen, Vice Chair Martin. My name is Suzanne Fraser. I'm the president and co-founder of Beach Environmental Awareness Campaign Hawaii, or BEACH for short. We're in support of this bill. Thank you very much for introducing it. It's very important because PFAS are forever chemicals that are harmful to human health and the environment, and we really have to do something about stopping them. I'd like to just point out that this bill is addressing paper and firefighting foam, which is great. In 2021, the Environmental Defense Fund report called Beyond Paper, PFAS linked to common plastic packaging pointed out that this is also an issue in plastic. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. And if there is a way to include plastic in this bill, that would be great. Thank you very much for this opportunity to give testimony today.
Thank you. And next up, we have American Chemistry Council with comments. And then Hawaii Firefighters Association in support. And then there are 5 individuals submitted testimony for in support, 1 in opposition. Is there anyone else here to testify on this measure? If not, members, any questions? Okay, then we will go ahead and move on to the next bill on our agenda. This is House Bill 1614. This is just requiring risk-based audits for deposit beverage container redemption centers. This was a recommendation of the auditor, actually. So 1641, first up, Department of Health.
Good morning, Chair Lowen, Vice Chair Martin, and members of the committee. Again, my name is Michael Burke, and I'm with the Department of Health. We've submitted written testimony in support of HB 1641 and stand on that testimony. If you have any questions, we'll be here right after.
Thank you. And then we have the Hawaii County Department of Environmental Management in support, American Beverage Association in support, Gerard Silva in opposition, and then Barbara Berry and Ted Bolin in support. Members, that's all the testimony we have that was submitted in advance. Is there anyone else here to testify? If not, members, any questions? If not, we will move on to House Bill 1706 relating to single-use plastics. This is prohibiting the sale of single-use plastic containers after certain dates. And first up, we have Department of Health.
Good morning, Chair Lowen and Vice Chair Martin. Again, this is Michael and members of the committee. Again, this is Michael Burke from the Department of Health. We submitted comments on HB 1706. We stand on those written comments and will be available for questions after.
Thanks. Then we have DLNR, Brian Nielsen.
Aloha, Chair Lowen, Vice Chair Martin, members of the committee. We stand on our written testimony, appreciating the intent of this measure and offering comments. Thank you.
Thank you. And also DLNR, David Sakota.
He's not present.
Comments? Okay, thank you. Hawaii County Department of Environmental Management in support. Hawaii Food Industry Association.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. We stand on our testimony in opposition, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Surfrider Hawaii Foundation in support. American Beverage Association.
Aloha, Chair. Matt Sujimura on behalf of David Thorpe on behalf of American Beverage Association. We'll stand on our written testimony in opposition, and I'd just like to point out that the non-alcoholic beverage companies in Hawaii provide roughly 1,200 good-paying jobs across the state, as well as support thousands of others that rely in part on beverage sales for their livelihoods, for their businesses. But other than that, happy to answer any questions at the end.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then Beach.
Hello there again. Suzanne Fraser. We're giving comments on this bill. We'd like to see some amendments to it, starting with the word single-use plastics, because bottles are not single use. They can be used multiple times for the same purpose. They can be refilled over and over again. So they can't be called single-use plastic. Also, I didn't really get that this was confined just to beverages I gather that's the intent perhaps, but it says plastic bottle or rigid plastic container filled with fluid. So that could include things like soy sauce, liquid soap, bleach, isopropyl alcohol, shampoo, laundry liquid, syrup, etc. So I think this bill needs some rewriting in our, that would be our recommendation. Thank you for this opportunity to give comments today.
Thank you. American Chemistry Council. In opposition, the Wine Institute.
Good morning, Chair Lowen, Vice Chair Martin, Louis Salaveri on behalf of the Wine Institute. You have our testimony in opposition. If I could just add that, this particularly hits this industry in two areas, which is the otherwise known as the bag-in-a-box wine, as well as the 187 milliliter, wine bottles, otherwise known as the 4-pack. These are very unique products. And given the fact that this particular industry has been impacted by the global slowdown in leisure travel, as well as the fires and supply chain disruptions that, this organization and this industry still is committed to the sustainability efforts for our state. So with that, we will stand on our testimony in opposition. Thank you, Revlon.
Thank you. International Bottled Water Association. In opposition, Reynolds Recycling. In opposition. And then we have testimony from a number of individuals, 5 in support and 4 in opposition. Is there anyone else here to testify on this measure?
Yes, Chair, this is Natalie Wassa.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Natalie Wassa, for the record. I did submit late testimony in opposition. I'm very concerned about this, and some of you know me. I ride my bike for errands, I pick up trash, I recycle, I buy concentrated goods, but I'm very concerned about the banning of single-use bottles. This is a shampoo bottle. It would be banned under the current bill. Medicine, contact solution, many other types of bottles would be banned. And I think what we're doing with this bill is trading one problem for another. The problem, as I understand it, is littering. Bottles get into our oceans, they get into our environment and have negative consequences. But I want to show you an example of one problem for another is when the hotel industry changes from the single-use bottles to the bulk dispensers. Now with COVID, people don't want to use them. And so, it's not fixing the problem. The other issue is that this drives up costs because as we look for other methods to store our liquids, we're putting them in cardboard or metal, and that's more expensive. So I ask you to address the problem, which is littering, and not keep banning our goods. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Was there anyone else who wanted to testify on this measure? If not, members, any questions? All right, if not, we'll move on to House Bill 1643 relating to waste reduction. And this takes what city and county did by requesting that food vendors provide disposable food serviceware only upon request and expands it statewide. First up, we have Department of Health.
Good morning again, Chair Lowen and Vice Chair Martin and members of the committee. Again, my name is Michael Burke and I'm with the Department of Health. We submitted testimony commenting on HB 1643 and we stand on that written testimony.
Thank you. And then Hawaii Restaurant Association.
Chair Lowen, this is Victor Lim with the Hawaii Restaurant Association. As you mentioned, it's already in Honolulu County as well as in Maui County, and we are implementing it and we could support it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hawaii Food Industry Association.
Good morning again, Chair. We stand on our testimony with comments just asking that education and outreach are prioritized prior to implementing the measure if it's passed. Thank you.
Thank you. Surfrider Foundation, Hawaii. In support, Beach.
Yes, good morning again. Suzanne Fraser, President of Beach. We're in support of this bill. Thank you very much for introducing it. It's a really good bill. How it could be improved would be adding a ban eventually, similar to Bill 40, where it started with a phase out of utensils only by request, and then a ban on plastic utensils. That would make this a really strong bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And then we have the American Chemistry Council with comments. And then there are 5 individuals who submitted testimony in support and 1 in opposition. Is there anyone else here who wants to testify on this measure? If not, members, any questions? Okay, we are moving right along. So next we have House Bill 1642. This is requiring increasing percentages of post-consumer recycled content for certain types of containers. First up, we have Department of Health.
Good morning, Chair Lowen, Vice Chair Martin, and members of the committee. My name is Michael Burke. I'm with the Department of Health. We submitted testimony in support of HB 1642, and we stand on that testimony, and we'll be here for any questions after.
Thank you. And then Hawaii County Department of Environmental Management. In support, Hawaii Food Industry Association.
Good morning. We're in opposition to this measure. We think that prioritizing collaborative approaches and incentives is a much more effective way to increase post-consumer recycled content in these containers. We don't have any recycling facilities in the state that recycle the materials mandated in this bill. So we think that the state should work on prioritizing recycling on that level before mandating it for our local companies. A lot of people don't know that many of the products impacted by this bill are manufactured here in Hawaii. So this would be impacting local businesses and mandating that they use materials that aren't manufactured here in the state and that may be more expensive and making products more expensive for local consumers. And I'm available for questions. Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we have American Beverage Association with comments, Zero Waste Hawaii. With comments, Beach.
Good morning again. Suzanne Fraser, comments on this bill. You know, when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, all the glass bottles were sterilized and reused. And I just wonder why that's not happening anymore, and whether this bill requiring recycled content would bar a company from sterilizing and reusing the bottle, or does that count as recycled content? Surely it would be less costly for companies to sterilize the bottles and refill them. So I'd like to just make those comments. Thank you.
Thank you. American Chemistry Council with comments. Wine Institute.
Good morning, Chair Lowen, Vice Chair Martin, members of the committee. Louis Salaveri on behalf of the Wine Institute. You have our testimony in opposition. We will stand on that testimony. Thank you.
Thank you. And then International Bottled Water Association with comments. And then we have 4 individuals in support. Is there anyone else here who wants to testify on this measure? If not, members, any questions? I have some questions. For Wine Institute.
Yes, Chair.
Hi, we're thinking about narrowing this down just to apply to containers that fall under the deposit beverage container program. I think that would exempt wine.
That is something that we could definitely agree to. I mean, there is definitely concern with the amount of PCRC that would be required. Currently, the logistics and the amount of cullet that's necessary in order to meet those mandated requirements, given the supply chain disruptions and the amount of aggregate that's available, it'd be very difficult, if not impossible, for the industry to actually meet those deadlines.
Okay. And is anyone here for the Bottled Water Association? Okay. Okay, any other questions, members? All right, if not, we will move on to House Bill 1684. First up, we have OIP. Office of Information Practices offering comments. Department of Health.
Good morning, Chair Lowen and Vice Chair Martin, members of the committee. Again, this is Michael Burke with the Department of Health, and we submitted testimony providing comments on HB 1684. We stand on that written testimony, and if you have any questions, we're available after.
And then the Civil Beat Law Center for Public Interest. In opposition, we have Island Plastic Bags. In opposition, Association of Home Appliance Manufacturers, AHAM.
Yes. This is an opportunity to speak. Oh,
yes.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Lowen, Vice Chair Martin, members of the committee. My name is Jacob Cassidy. I'm the Director of Government Relations at the Association of Home Appliance Manufacturers. Just a bit about AHAM. We have 150 member companies that manufacture approximately 90% of the major portable and floor care home appliances that are sold. With respect to 1684, AHAM is opposed. This is just a general EPR model that we've seen with questionable results in Canada the past decade plus. By establishing a producer responsibility organization, or PRO, to manage all material recovery system, it essentially would fund the status quo with an expensive and complex system. Program costs have increased, rates of recovery remain stagnant or have gotten worse. Please see my comments, or happy to answer questions for more. We do also have a position on an upcoming bill, and I hope to speak on that too, 2399. Thank you.
Yep, that bill is next. Thank you. Next, we have Animal Health Institute with comments. Consumer Healthcare Products Association in opposition. And then we have 3 individuals in support, 1 with comments, 1 in opposition. Is there anyone else here to testify on this measure? If not, members, any questions? All right, if not, we'll move on to House Bill 2399. This is the second version of kind of an EPR bill. The one we just heard was the first. First up, we have Budget and Finance, Department of Budget and Finance with comments. Department of Health.
Good morning, Chair Lowen, Vice Chair Martin, and members of the committee. Again, this is Michael Burke with the Department of Health. We submitted written testimony in support of HB 2399 and stand on that testimony. And as always, we're here after if you have any questions.
Thank you. Island Plastic Bags, Inc. In opposition, Life of the Land. In support, Hawaii Food Industry Association.
Good morning again, Chair. We are in opposition to this measure. As I'm sure the committee is aware, we're in the midst of an unprecedented global supply chain crisis, and we would strongly caution against taking any action that's going to make it more expensive or more difficult for the companies that feed this state to continue to do that.
Zero Waste Hawaii Island. In support, Association of Home Appliance Manufacturers. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Jacob Cassidy again for the record on HB 2399 with the Association of Home Appliance Manufacturers. Right now, our members do not have a formal position on this proposal. We are quite intrigued with the innovative approach to managing packaging waste that it offers. We hope as this discussion and the legislature considers this in both the House and in this similar measure in the Senate, that we do have a more formal position to present. But happy to continue and be part of this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Zero Waste
Recycle.
Can I speak? Zero Waste Hawaii Island.
Oh, please proceed. Thank you.
Yeah, so this bill is kind of innovative in that it does focus on getting money to switch over to a new system. A lot of these bills that we're hearing about really are trying to address the problems that come from our current single-use linear system. So this money would provide funding to switch over to a new system where we reuse containers, which would cut down on supply chain disruption issues. So it's really not putting it all on the manufacturers to like our local food producers. I hear what they're saying. There's not a lot of good options for packaging right now that are sustainable. So this would put the infrastructure in place to switch over to a new system of reuse, which is really going to address all the root causes of our problems.
Thank you. Next, we have Recycle Hawaii.
Aloha. Thank you for the opportunity to testify on this. I come as someone who's been very involved in the development of this bill. And I want to say there's absolutely no evidence or nothing to support the idea that this is going to lead to increased costs for Hawaii consumers. It's very specifically designed to engage the top producers of fast-moving consumer goods. I've been in direct conversation with a number of these companies. We've been reaching out to producers, and I think the testimony from AHAM shows that outreach has been at least somewhat successful. So again, the whole idea is to start with a simple step forward for Hawaii when it comes to extended producer responsibility. We're not saying that all the responsibility should be put on the producers. We're saying that it's very important over a transitional period to engage them and to work with those parties who do have the resources to make a change. So much of the testimony that you've heard today, including from John DeFries, he was saying how moving away from single-use plastics in the tourism industry is going to require support. Well, this is the support that's needed. This bill would provide that support. Someone else called for collaborative efforts. This is definitely a collaborative effort. And so in short, again, there's no evidence that this would increase costs. What it appears is that these reuse programs and the funding needed for them would be spread over that $500 million plus global marketing share that these large producers, can amortize that cost over. And there's nothing to suggest that people in Hawaii who are engaged in these reuse programs are going to suffer from some kind of fee or tax or something added to the cost of products here because they're engaging in these activities. And finally, I'd just like to say that this is our chance to have Hawaii become this model for reuse. When you look at all the top manufacturers who are trying to get away from wasteful packaging, they're really scratching their heads when it comes to reuse strategies. There's been little to no progress made in this policy arena. And this is a chance for Hawaii, our small population, far distance from the mainland, a lot of tourists coming to visit, to create those models. So I ask the committee to please pass it forward and assure you that there's a lot of work going on at the national level with top producers to get them on board.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have American Beverage Association. In opposition, Hawaii Reef and Ocean Coalition.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair. I'm and the Hawaii Reef and Ocean Coalition are in strong support of this bill. As the last two speakers have indicated, it's an opportunity to move to a new system of waste that puts some of the responsibility on the producers, where they can do some economically sensible things to reduce and to reuse. We have a one-way linear waste system where everything is produced and ends up in the waste, and largely taxpayers paying for it in the landfills. This would be an opportunity to move to a more circular system of waste handling, which we desperately need in Hawaii, given our isolation, our constraints in land, and the plastic pollution problems that we have in our oceans. So please pass this bill as a good first step to a new system of waste handling. Thank you very much. I'm available for questions.
Thank you. And then American Chemistry Council. Comments? And then we have 16 testimony submitted online from individuals in support and 1 in opposition. Is there anyone else here to testify on this measure? Members, any questions? All right, if not, we will move on to House Bill 1646. This is a recycling labeling bill. And first up, we have testimony from Department of Health.
Good morning, Chair Lowen and Vice Chair Martin and members of the committee. My name is Michael Burke. I'm with the Department of Health. We submitted written testimony commenting on this on HB 1646. We stand on that written testimony, and as always, I'm available for questions after.
Thank you. And Island Plastic Bags with comments. Association of Home Appliance Manufacturers with comments. We have American Beverage Association with comments. Household Commercial Products Association.
Thank you, Chair and committee members. Christopher Finarelli with the Household and Commercial Products Association. We submitted some written testimony and stand on that, but would encourage the committee to consider the potential patchwork of standards across various states that this and other bills would create, and the impact that would have on labeling, but also consumer confusion and potentially contamination. Thank you.
Thank you. And Zero Waste Hawaii Island, Jennifer Navarra. In support, and then Beach.
Hi, Suzanne Fraser. We're in support. I'd like to make a couple of comments, but first I'd like to thank you very much for introducing this bill. It's long overdue. These false and misleading environmental claims have been really confusing consumers for decades now and need to be addressed. California, quite some years ago, banned the word biodegradable on plastic items because it's been so misused. And we do have concerns about a couple of things. Page 7, it says about changing the chasing arrows symbol to a solid triangle. Actually, many products already have solid triangles with numbers in them. So we suggest to be clearer to the consumers that not all items are recyclable, to change the triangle to a square. That would be, I think, the right thing to do. And then on page 17, concerning mulch, people are buying plastic and putting it down as weed mats. And these mats are saying that they're biodegradable when all they're doing is breaking up into many, many pieces of plastic. And once again, the word biodegradable is being misused all over the place. So really, we suggest that the word biodegradable gets banned outright. Thank you very much for, one more thing. Another deceptive claim is that plastic dissolves. Plastic actually doesn't do magical things of biodegrading and dissolving. So all those pods that are going down washing machines and dishwashers, what they're really doing is they're clogging up those machines and then they're killing fish. So perhaps that could also be included in this bill. Thank you very much for the opportunity to give testimony today.
Thank you. And then we have the American Chemistry Council with comments. Surfrider Foundation in support. And then we have 6 individuals in support, 1 in opposition, and 1 offering comments. Is there anyone else here to testify on this measure? If not, members, any questions? All right, we are moving fast today. We'll move on to the next bill, 2195, relating to cesspools. This establishes a cesspool compliance pilot grant project. And first up to testify, we have Department of Health.
Good morning, Chair Lowen, Vice Chair Martin, and members of the committee. The department stands on its written testimony in support.
Thank you. And Department of Budget and Finance offering comments. We have DHHL, William Isla.
Good morning,
Good morning, Chair Lowen, Vice Chair Martin. We stand in support of this bill, and we would just like to point out that we would highly recommend that leasehold owners of property, vertical and involved in the Hawaiian Homes program, be also included.
Okay, thank you. And Ted Bolin?
Thank you, Chair and Vice Chair. As you know well, Hawaii's got a very large cesspool problem. We need to get going on fixing it. There are big financial constraints to doing that because of the cost, and people don't have the money, especially low and moderate income people. This bill would have a pilot grant program. I think it would be a great start, and I'm strongly in support. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. And Stuart Coleman from VI.
Morning, Chair and Vice Chair and committee members. Thank you for hearing this bill, which we support at VI. We, as has been said by others, we think this is a really important bill to provide funding, especially for low to moderate income homes, because a report I serve in the cesspool conversion working group showed that most homeowners could not afford the full price of converting their cesspools. So we think this is a really practical and helpful way to do that. So we'll be available for any questions. Mahalo.
Thank you. And then we have 6 individuals in support and 1 who submitted testimony in opposition. Is there anyone else here to testify on this measure? If not, members, any questions? All right, we will move on to House Bill 2088. This is establishing a property assessed green infrastructure program. And first up, we have DBET.
Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Chung Chang with DBED. We stand on our written testimony in support of the measure. Thank you.
Thank you. Department of Budget and Finance offering comments. Hawaii Green Infrastructure Authority. Gwen, go ahead.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Gwen Yamamoto with the Hawaii Green Infrastructure Authority, and we stand on our written testimony in support and are available for comments, questions if you have any later. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Attorney General offering comments. William Isla, DHHL.
Yes, good morning. Chair Lowen, Vice Chair Martin, and members of the committee. My name is Greg Kinkley, just another Deputy Attorney General representing DBED and Hawaii Green Infrastructure Authority in particular. You should have my testimony before you, commenting on a potential contract clause issue. I just wanted to note that the mere existence of an impairment of the senior mortgage holders by the property assessed financing lien is not fatal to this bill. There's a test that courts use to determine the constitutionality of the impairments. It's full of adjectives, reasonable, appropriate, significant. So it's always going to be a judgment call. But there are many such conditions already baked into this bill that are nudging it the right way. I observe that HTIA is working on putting even more such conditions. I would be happy to work with them, and I'll stay around if there are further questions. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. So we are back to DHHL.
Good morning, Chair Lowen. We stand in support and stand ready for questions.
Thank you. Ted Bolin, Hawaii Reef and Ocean Coalition. With support. Stuart Coleman with VI.
Hi, thank you, Chair. We stand on our written support and will be available for any questions. We think this is another important way to help finance cesspool conversions across the state. Mahalo.
Chair, I'm sorry, I was late. Ditto for me. Stand in support, available for questions. Thank you.
All right, everyone, thank you. Next, we have Petros Pace Finance LLC, Michael Yaki.
Mahalo. Thank you very much. I'm Michael Yaki with Petros Pace Finance. We are a national commercial PACE financing company. We are in strong support of this legislation. We understand, we stand on our written testimony. We understand that some amendments are maybe forthcoming that we have been a part of working on, and we strongly support those as well. I look forward to continuing to work with the legislature on creating a very strong commercial PACE program in Hawaii. And on a personal note, my grandfather was born in Maui, and my sister lives on Oahu, and her family live in Oahu. So mahalo and thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Nuveen Green Capital, Genevieve Sherman.
Hi, thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, and the committee. My name is Genevieve Sherman, and I'm with Nuveen Green Capital. We are also a national financing platform for commercial PACE financings in commercial buildings. We stand on our written testimony in support of HB 2088 and also understand that there have been some amendments that are forthcoming to clarify certain aspects of this program with respect to the roles and responsibilities of local governments vis-a-vis the Hawaii Green Infrastructure Authority, and to distinguish commercial and residential properties. So we are in support of those amendments as well. We thank you for your consideration and are available for questions as they arise. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have the CPACE Alliance, Clifton Kellogg in support. Tax Foundation of Hawaii.
Thank you, Chair. Tom Yamachika from Tax Foundation of Hawaii. We just wanted to give the chair and members some background information on what this is and some of the acronyms that may have come up. This is a variation of what's called a PACE program. PACE stands for Property Assessed Clean Energy, but the bill would make this available to other kinds of property improvements as well. It essentially turns the counties into lenders that are supposed to finance qualified improvements by basically giving the lenders a position that is akin to the real property tax lien. So they basically will jump ahead of any existing mortgages on the property to the extent of that financing, and that way they may make some of the existing lenders upset. Although there are provisions in the bill that says, well, too bad, you have to deal with this. I have put in my testimony some of the advantages and disadvantages of such programs as set forth by the U.S. Department of Energy, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you. And then we have Rocky Mold, Hawaii Solar Energy Association.
Aloha, good morning, Chair Lowen, Vice Chair Martin, and members of the committee. My name is Rocky Mold. I'm the Executive Director of the Hawaii Solar Energy Association. HSEA stands on its written testimony in support of this bill. Given the right structure, design, and setup, a revolving loan fund can be a powerful tool to invest in public policy priorities and harness scarce resources toward underserved communities in need. By combining investments in measures that have an easily identifiable, rapid, and monetizable payback, such as rooftop solar, energy storage, and energy efficiency, with measures that have less readily monetizable paybacks, but nonetheless high societal paybacks over time, a revolving loan fund can have a great reach and impact. The immediate monetizable returns are reinvested into the longer term investments. So the cesspool remediation and resilience retrofits are enabled and funded by the renewable energy and energy efficiency retrofits. And having the ability to tap various sources of funds with or without a property assessment is an important feature. HGIA can help to channel federal and other funds into these needed investments. We also think it's important that this program coordinate and align with the PUC's grid planning efforts and the Public Benefits Fund. So the governance, accountability, and administrative structure are important. So thank you so much for the time to testify, and I'm here for questions if you have them.
Thank you. And we have a testimony from Barbara Berry in support and Johnny Mae Perry in support. Is there anyone else here who wants to testify on this measure? If not, members, any questions? No questions. Okay, just to clarify, I guess maybe for for Gwen. Just for the committee members to understand, this program would be completely voluntary. So we would set up a structure and counties could opt in, and then individual homeowners would also be able to opt in. It would have to be voluntary.
Yes, it's voluntary on the county side. It's also voluntary on the property owner side. It's a voluntary special assessment. We are also working with all of our lenders here in Hawaii to also design a lending program. $25 million that we're asking for is not going to go very far. And so really we're hoping to unleash the private capital, and that therefore we're working with our lenders here.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, if committee members don't have any questions, we will go ahead and move on. Next on our agenda, we have House Bill 2147 relating to municipal solid waste landfill permits. First up, we have Department of Health.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Renee H. Natsubo, Solid and Hazardous Waste Branch, Department of Health. The department stands on our written testimony in support. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we have testimony from a couple individuals. Is there anyone else here to testify on this matter? If not, members, any questions? Okay, we will move on. 2148, House Bill 2148 relating to water pollution control. This is another Department of Health admin bill. First up, we have Department of Health.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and the committee member. I'm Eric Wong. The Department of Health stand on its written testimony in support.
Thank you. And then we have testimony from 3 individuals in support. Oh, and I see Ted Bolin. Did you want to testify?
Yes. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair. This is to me a very important bill because of my prior work for the Clean Water Branch. The penalties are way out of date. Wetlands need protection and the 401 stuff needs cleanup. So this is, in my mind, a very important admin bill, and I hope the committee can move it along. Thank you very much. Available for questions.
Thank you. Any questions, members? Okay, if not, we'll move on to House Bill 2398 relating to landfills. This would reduce the landfill buffer zone from a half mile to a quarter mile. First up, we have Department of Health.
Good morning, Chair Lowen, Vice Chair Martin, members of the committee. My name is Glenn Ha'ai. I'm with the Department of Health Solid and Hazardous Waste Branch. We stand on our written testimony commenting on the bill and are available for any questions.
And next up, we have Spain County of Honolulu, Department of Environmental Services, Roger Babcock.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and committee members. Roger Babcock, Department of Environmental Services. ENV stands by our written testimony in support of Bill 2398, as this will, we think, help us with the siting of our required new landfill. And we stand by our written testimony and we are available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And then next we have Keone o Kakuhiheva, Kelly Peng. In opposition, then we have Makana Paris, Prince Kuhio Hawaiian Civic Club.
Aloha, Chair Lowen, Vice Chair Martin, and members of the committee. Anthony Makana Paris on behalf of Prince Kuhio Hawaiian Civic Club. We respectfully oppose HB 2398. 2 years ago, Hawaii's legislature passed one of the most progressive environmental justice laws in our history, where new waste or disposal facilities, including landfills, could no longer be located in our conservation's land and created a buffer zone of a half mile between Opala and our homes, hospitals, and schools. So protecting our people and watersheds, our vai, our drinking water from Opala. Both public health research and our community mo'olelo, our stories illustrate the negative health effects that occur within 2 miles of landfills, including the 2 census tracts within a mile of a landfill in Nanakuli, Oahu, where our neighbors have 8 to 10 years decrease in their life expectancy. The current buffer zone protects our communities from future health harming and even cancer-causing pollution such as toxic benzene. Landfill pollutants not only leak into our vai, but blow into our neighborhoods, so we must protect both. We agree with protecting our waters, but decreasing the buffer zone is not the way. A half-mile buffer zone is already a reasonable compromise given our other public policy interests. Please consider improved protections of our waters through other legislative vehicles. No community should suffer the negative health effects and decrease in quality of life from a waste or disposal facility, including landfills, be it from consuming contaminated water or from breathing contaminated air. So let's continue to protect our community and make sure that Opala is not in anyone's backyard. Please leave the buffer zone intact at a half-mile. Mahalo.
Mahalo. And next we have Hailama Farden Pelekikena, Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs in opposition. Kapolei Chamber of Commerce.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chairs, committee members. My name is Eliza Talbot. I'm on the Board of Directors for the Kapolei Chamber of Commerce, and I'm Chair of the Economic Revitalization Task Force for West Oahu. This morning, the Kapolei Chamber of Commerce is strongly opposed to this bill. It's evident to us that the measure's intention is to open more possibilities for potential landfill sites on the west side and potentially extend the landfill site at Waimanalo Gulch. The city and state have long stated that Oahu's growth must be pushed westward, and Kapolei is one of the fastest growing regions in the state. West Oahu can lead the state toward economic recovery because we have development potential and the availability of affordable housing for families. But West Oahu has been Oahu's dumping ground for decades, and our residents and businesses have suffered the consequences. Nanakuli residents have endured a landfill in their backyard since the 1940s. There are reasons why the federal and state restrictions have been placed on where landfills shall be located because of public safety and welfare. Even after the Waimanalo Gulch landfill closes, the contaminants will be in the soil for another 30 years. Currently, the Honolulu Landfill Advisory Committee is facing an impending deadline to select a new site for Honolulu's landfill. For the sake of transparency and fairness, this proposal should be shared with the neighborhood boards so that our communities can decide how this will impact them. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today on behalf of West Oahu. Mahalo.
Thank you. And then we have 4 additional testimonies from individuals in opposition. Is anyone present here who wishes to testify? All right, if not members, questions. Vice Chair Martin, go ahead.
Hi, I have a question for Roger Babcock. There seems to be, I understand the intent of this bill is to be environmentally conscious and not force our landfill over our aquifer. However, there's a lot of concerns from the west side that that would become the location for a future landfill site. Can you please comment on whether that would be the case?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair. No, that is not the intention to allow the siting of another landfill in any specific location. It does make a few more sites possible with considering all of the other restrictions, and this will be presented at to our landfill advisory committee. It will assist them in their in the selection process of the sites that would be available.
Just a short follow-up question, if I may, Chair.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. At this point, no matter what, Nanakuli will be closed. Is that correct? That will no longer be, that's scheduled to be closed as a landfill. Is that correct statement?
That, yeah, you're referring to the PVT, the construction demolition waste landfill, or the Waimanalo Gulch?
Sorry, Waimanalo Gulch.
Waimanalo Gulch. Yeah, Waimanalo Gulch, by according to the Land Use Commission, it will be closed by in March of 2028. And by December 31st of this year, 2022, the city must identify the location of the next landfill.
Russo, go ahead.
Question for Mr. Babcock. So which other sites would this measure make possible?
if you could give us some specific information.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Representative. Unfortunately, we cannot name, we're not naming any sites at this time in the public forum. The Landfill Advisory Committee themselves have not even been informed of the possible sites. So it is, we're not prepared to share that information at this time. The information about with the existing restrictions, various restrictions from the various acts and other requirements is on our landfill siting webpage, and you can turn on and off each of the various restrictions. You could, including the buffer. So you can, I think, on your own, if you wanted to, you could kind of imagine that the buffer layer was reduced, and you could get an idea of where some additional sites might be located. Currently, it has the half-mile buffer distance incorporated in that layer. I hope that's not too confusing.
It's not too confusing. I can do that work. The reason I'm asking is I think that a lot of the testimony in opposition comes from a place of recognizing the environmental injustice and environmental racism of past practices. And I just was trying to get a sense if you are actively trying to remedy that historical approach. So I don't hear you saying that. So thank you for your response.
Yeah, I mean, I would be able to address that. And yes, that is a key, or it is one of the criteria that the Landfill Advisory Committee is using. And at this time, we have a process where we have an independent committee doing this work, and we are many things have been discussed, but we are not trying to influence that process in any way in terms of what our preferences would be. And after the advisory committee's work is completed, then it will be the administration's job to name the next site and consider many things, including eventually an environmental assessment or impact statements will be required. And so there'll be a lot more analysis in the future, which will bring in all, many, many issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Oh, thank you. What happens go ahead, Rep. Tokioka. Is that?
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
Mr. Babcock, let me.
Your camera's still off though.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about Mr. Babcock, are you familiar with the Kekaha landfill on Kauai?
Yes, there was just an article in the Civil Beat this morning about it. Very nice article. Interesting.
Oh, I didn't see it. But the reason I asked that is I was on the county council in 1996 when we were told that we had 5 years left on that landfill. That's 1996. So that took us to 2001. That landfill is still there. And so we'd had the same thing that you're going through. We went through the community outreach, selection process. And then one of the things I didn't hear you say, which I think is part of your process, is that it has to also go through the county council for approval. Is that correct? In Honolulu's case? Or the mayor has total control on the final site? I don't know what I don't know what Honolulu City's requirements are, but on Kauai it had to go through the county council before it was approved.
My understanding is that it's the mayor's decision.
Okay, a little bit different. Okay, so I say that because everybody thought on Kauai we were going to site a landfill. And then, for whatever reasons, different roadblocks came up. The last one was, it was 5 miles from the airport. So because of the birds and because of what happened on the East Coast, we couldn't site that landfill. So your advisory committee is coming up with sites, right? That's the process, is they come up with 2, 3, 4 sites, and then the mayor will choose one of the sites.
That's correct.
Yeah, so the reason I'm asking all of these questions is to just let you and everybody who's a part of this Zoom meeting know that just because you cite it, that doesn't mean it's going to happen, because no community on this island is going to want to say, yeah, let's put it over there. So I'm not sure if you guys are prepared for that. I'm sure you are, because you know how it works and how it doesn't work, but that could prolong a siting of a landfill for years. And everything that everybody has said about the landfill in Nanakuli is absolutely true. And it's the same thing that happened on the west side of Kauai. And I know all the experts with landfills say that the landfill should be on the west side of the island because it's dry, but that's not fair to the people on the west side of the island. And they have liners now that can stop the leach from going down into the aquifers and all of that. And I know you're aware of that. But the last question is, I'm sure at this point you can share the sites that the committee has come up with, because that's an open process, right?
Yes, so the committee, it is an open process, and the next committee meeting is Monday, next Monday. They're open public meetings. No, the committee has not seen any sites yet. So that the sites have not been revealed. The committee so far has been had a lot of education and site visits and presentations from various points of view, and they're then moving into their we're developing the selection process, how the voting and ranking and scoring is going to be done, and they've agreed upon the criteria and how they will do their scoring anonymously, etc. They'll be finishing that this week, this coming week, and then they will be then the sites will be revealed, and they will do their scoring. So that is occurring. We hope to finish up this committee in June. Their work.
Okay, that was what I wanted to hear. When conclusion will come in. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Roger, for you, I guess the question I have is, what happens if the end of 22 comes and you cannot identify a site, or there are no viable sites to put a landfill, especially with all the bills that are circulating this session? What would happen?
Well, I think I don't have a perfect answer for that question, but prior to the deadline, the city would have to ask for an extension of the deadline to name a site and reformulate the process, or try to do other efforts to perhaps have some restrictions changed, or some sort of special provision for a site before we could proceed.
And if, for example, there was a natural disaster and a whole bunch of disaster debris, and the current landfill is full, and there's nowhere to put it, I mean, I guess I would be concerned, would that result in sort of a makeshift disposal that didn't have the same kind of environmental protections in place?
Yeah, that's a good question. So debris, natural disaster debris is an important topic, and our Department of Emergency Management does have plans in conjunction with the state and with the federal government for how we do those things. And you're correct, there would be temporary sites that would happen anyway in the event of, say, a hurricane. So that is an important issue, especially going forward. One of the reasons why you have to have a landfill. Why we have to have a landfill.
All right, thanks. And then for I guess Makana or Eliza, Like one idea I've been considering to try to find a way to potentially give city and county a little more room to consider other sites is to, but still honoring the concerns about the unfair burden that's been placed on West Oahu and certain communities to bear the brunt of impacts of where landfills are cited in the past. Would you consider if we added a definition to the law of overburdened communities or environmental justice communities as like low-income Native or Native Hawaiian or populations or geographic locations that experience disproportionate environmental harms and risks, and then left the half-mile buffer zone in place for any of those communities as identified, and then reduced it to a quarter-mile otherwise? Would that be something you would be willing to consider? And probably that definition would be something we'd have to work on going forward.
Aloha, Chair. I will defer to Elisa Talbot first, if she wishes to speak.
Oh, okay, thank you, Makana. I think that we would consider that, and I don't know, Makana is the chair of the neighborhood board in Kapolei, so I do kind of defer to his decision, but I think we would consider that. But I also strongly encourage the committee to consider that although Waimanalo Gulch is supposed to be closed, there's definitely an underlying push to keep it open and extend it, and it's really something that we don't want to see happen again, because it truly is unfair to our Native Hawaiian community and our entire West Side community. And I'll defer to Makana.
Thank you, Chair Lowen. Thank you for the question. I believe the solution you're looking at would be viable only if we set up something similar to California with an environmental justice, environmental program, their own EPA. So they have very similar legislation there. However, given the fact that our Department of Health already has issues that they're burdened with, understaffed, under-resourced, and can't even do error detection themselves, it's hard to say that they would actually be able to monitor that without more funding. That's the reason why in our previous policy discussions, the buffer zone was the cleanest, easiest way. And I can't in good conscience, I can't represent our organization, but personally, I can't in good conscience say that we can put Opala closer to any community, because the whole point of the buffer zone was to keep it away from people. And with all due respect, looking at the LAC and the process that they're going through, it's not even clear how certain of the current locations were set up. Like, we're looking at the maps and we're trying to understand if it really is an issue of being close to people, then the government has powers to be able to address that. They can fix zoning, or they could use eminent domain to move people away. So it's not like we're actually eliminating sites, even from the 2012 MACLAS study. Like, those sites exist, but we're putting the burden on our government in order to ensure that it's fair for everyone. So I like the direction of your thought, but without an EPA for Hawaii, it's hard to implement. So I would rather the buffer zone stay intact.
So I guess same question for Roger, like what if the city and county, what if your department undertook the work to do environmental justice mapping on Oahu? And then once you had that in place, you could come back to the legislature and ask to have separate considerations for environmental justice communities versus other communities.
Yes, yeah, thank you, Representative. That's a very interesting idea, and we have talked a lot about environmental justice issues, and so I think that is that's an important thing that we could do in a more formal way. But I'll have to check whether, you know, what resources would be necessary to do that for us.
Right, because I think people, it's like one thing to say that you are considering things and that you don't intend to cite a landfill here and there, but I think people feel more comfortable being able to see something in black and white. Okay, any further questions, committee members? All right, if not, we'll move on to the last bill on the agenda. This is House Bill 1698. This is prohibiting citing a landfill over or that covers a significant aquifer. And first up, we have Department of Health.
Aloha Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. The department stands on its written testimony commenting on this bill and is available for any questions.
And then DLNR, Seaworm.
Aloha Chair, Vice Chair, and committee members, Kaleo Mania, Deputy with the Water Commission. We stand on our written comments and are available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have Neil Fujii. Is he also here from DLNR?
He's not here. Thank you.
Not present. Thank you. Kauai County Council, Felicia Cowden. City and County of Honolulu, Roger Babcock. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Chair and Vice Chair and committee members. ENV stands by our written testimony, which is in opposition of House Bill 1968 because it would further reduce the already severely limited number of locations on the island where we could site a landfill, essentially eliminating perhaps all sites. We are available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Royal Kunia Community Association, Wayne Nakamoto in support. Hawaii Crop Improvement Association in support. Hawaii Farm Bureau in support. And then we have 5 additional individuals in support. Members, are there any questions? I have a question maybe for Kaleo from Seaworm. If we task Department of Health and Seaworm with collaborating and defining, what aspects a site would have that would be not appropriate for a landfill because it would cause risk to an important aquifer, like would that be very different from just the bill as it's currently written that says like anything covering a significant aquifer, which I interpret as like near or above? I mean, are there areas that would still be available?
Hello, Chair, for the question. We would have to work closely with Department of Health to look at what criteria we would use to evaluate what is and isn't significant. I think that additional kind of study or focus with criteria coming out of it as a result would help, I think, then could apply it. And I don't know what the outcome would be of it. Would it take out every single parcel for a potential site? I don't know at this point. That's why we just asked that to be part of that consultation to determine what is and isn't significant from the Water Commission's perspective.
Okay, I don't have any further questions. Other members, any questions? All right, if not, we will recess for decision making. Okay, welcome back for decision making on the February 3rd EEP agenda. First on the agenda, we have House Bill 1640, the Electronic Waste Update Bill. We are going to fill in some of the blanks in the bill with percentages. We worked on with Department of Health. So this will be the recycling goals calculated based on weight using manufacturer sales of the 2 years prior, and the goals will be 50% by January 1st, 2023, 60% by January 1st, 2024, and 70% by January 1st, 2025. In chapter 339D-23 subsection B3, we will clarify that collection services should happen a minimum of once a month. And then on page 1, line 17, we'll add the words unless amended by rule pursuant to chapter 91 so that it matches up to paragraphs 2 and 3. Page 18, line 19, instead of referencing market share, we'll reference the percentages that are being set forth in 339D. And page 20 will change the words covered television to electronic devices. That was just a kind of a error that didn't get fixed earlier. And then some additional technical amendments needed for clarity, consistency, and style. Members, any comments? All right, if not, Vice Chair, please take the vote.
All right, so we're voting to pass HB 1640 with amendments. Chair, Vice Chair vote aye. And Representative Hashem is excused, as is Representative Matayoshi. Representative Peruso?
Aye.
Representative Todd?
Aye.
Representative Tokioka?
Aye.
Representative Matsumoto?
Aye.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have House Bill 1644. This is relating to PFAS chemicals. A few amendments here. We're going to, in the purpose clause, just change the language instead of prohibiting use, clarifying that to be distribution for use. Per Department of Health testimony, we'll move this into Chapter 321. And then for the food packaging requirements, we're going to change the date to December 31st, 2024. And for firefighting foam, the paragraph B part on page 5 will change the date to 2024. And we have additional technical amendments for clarity, consistency, and style. And then we will defect the date to July 1st, 2100. Members, any comments? If not, please take the vote.
All right, we are voting to pass HB 1644 with amendments. Chair, Vice Chair vote aye. Seeing that Representative Hashem and Representative Matayoshi are excused, are there any noes or reservations? Hearing none, your recommendation is adopted, Chair.
Thank you. House Bill 1641, this is relating to risk-based audits for deposit beverage container redemption centers, and we're going to pass this as is.
Chair, take the vote.
Vice Chair, please take the vote. Sorry, any comments? Sorry, maybe someone doesn't like it. If not, Vice Chair, please take the vote.
All right, Chair recommends passing 1641 as is. Chair, Vice Chair vote aye. Representative Hashem and Representative Matayoshi are excused. Are there any noes or reservations? Hearing none, Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. And then House Bill 1706, this we're going to defer. 1643, this is in regards to expanding the single-use foodware only upon request law to statewide. So for this, we will give the counties the authority to enact ordinances to enforce, should they choose to, and take those enforcement provisions out of Department of Health. And then we'll defect the date to July 1st, 2100. And that is all. Members, any comments? If not, Vice Chair, please take the vote.
So Chair recommends passing HB 1643 with amendments. Chair, Vice Chair vote aye. Representatives Hashem and Matsuyoshi are excused. Are there any noes or reservations? Hearing none, your recommendation is adopted, Chair.
Thank you. And for House Bill 1642, this is relating to post-consumer recycled content. We have some amendments here to address concerns of American Chemistry Council on timing. We're pushing the dates out further to 15% by 2028, 25% by 2033, and 50% by 2035. We will narrow this down to apply only to containers that currently fall under the deposit beverage container program. And we will exempt caps and labels from these requirements, and then defect the date to July 1st, 2100. Members, any comments? If not, Vice Chair.
Chair recommends passing HB 1642 with amendments. Chair, Vice Chair vote aye. Representatives Hashem and Matsuyoshi are excused. Are there any noes or reservations? Hearing none, Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. And for 1684, we're going to defer this version of the EPR measure and go with House Bill 2399 based on testimony. And for House Bill 23, so deferring 1684 and then moving on to House Bill 2399. So for House Bill 2399, we're going to incorporate the suggested amendments of Department of Health, including adding a section to authorize positions. I think they said 3 positions, one that would need to be funded in the first year. The others could wait. So we'll add that provision in for this program, and then we'll defect the date to July 1st, 2100, so that we can just at least continue to have the conversation about this. And that is all. Members, any comments? If not, Vice Chair, please take the vote.
Chair recommends passing HB 2399 with amendments. Chair, Vice Chair vote aye. Representatives Hashem and Matsuyoshi are excused. Are there any noes or reservations? Hearing none, Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. And for House Bill 1646, this is the labeling, recyclables and compostables. This bill needs more work. We're going to try to see if we can come up with anything that we can move forward this session. So we're going to defer this for decision making until Tuesday, February 8th at 8:50 a.m. And then House Bill 2195 relating to cesspools. We want to, per DHHL testimony, I wasn't clear that this excluded leasehold properties or DHHL, but if it does, we'll double check that and make sure that we include them to qualify for this grant. And then we'll just specify that funds are available on a first come basis for qualified applicants, just subject to funding availability. And then we'll defect the date to July 1st, 2100. Members, any comments? All right, if not, Vice Chair, please take the vote.
Chair recommends passing HB 2195 with amendments. Chair, Vice Chair vote aye. Representatives Hashem and Matsuyoshi are excused. Are there any noes or reservations?
All right, moving on to House Bill. Sorry.
No, hearing none, your measure is adopted, Chair.
Moving on to House Bill 2088, we will take all of the suggested amendments of Hawaii Green Infrastructure Authority in their testimony, some additional technical amendments for clarity, consistency, and style. We will defect the date to July 1st, 2100 and move this bill forward. Members, any comments? If not, Vice Chair, please take the vote.
Chair recommends passing HB 2088 with amendments. Chair, Vice Chair vote aye. Representative Hashem and Matsuyoshi are excused. Are there any noes or reservations? Hearing none, Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. And House Bill 2147, we're going to move this forward with some technical amendments for clarity, consistency, and style. Members, any comments? If not, Vice Chair, please take the vote.
Chair recommends passing HB 2147 with amendments. Chair, Vice Chair vote aye. Representatives Hashem and Matsuyoshi are excused. Are there any noes or reservations? Hearing none, Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thanks. And House Bill 2148 relating to pollution control. We are going to make some technical amendments for clarity, consistency, and style and move this forward. Members, any comments? If not, Vice Chair, please take the vote.
Chair recommends passing HB 2148 with amendments. Chair, Vice Chair vote aye. Representatives Hashem and Matsuyoshi are excused. Are there any noes or reservations? Hearing none, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. And House Bill 2398 relating to landfills. I came into this hearing thinking maybe we could come up with some definition for overburdened communities or environmental justice communities and make some kind of different buffer zones for that. But I think that the defining of that needs more work and more community input. So we would just say to the city that it might be a good idea to look into doing some of that work. And then if there's a need to reduce the buffer zones for some areas, to come back with that environmental justice mapping on the table so that we can make sure we're protecting those communities. So we're going to defer this at this time. House Bill 1968, last bill on our agenda. This is about not citing landfills over areas that cover a significant aquifer. So we are going to note in the committee report the concerns that the passage of this measure may leave no viable locations for a new landfill, which the city is required by the Land Use Commission to identify by December 31st, 2022. And that Kauai County also expressed similar concerns. And then we will add a section requiring Department of Health to consult with CWRM to determine what constitutes a significant aquifer and whether which sites might be near or above that significant aquifer. And then we'll change the wording to near or above instead of covers and affect the date to July 1st, 2100. Members, any comments? If not, Vice Chair, please take the vote.
Chair recommends passing HB 1968 with amendments. Chair, Vice Chair vote aye. Representative Hashem and Matsuyoshi are excused. Are there any noes or reservations? Hearing none. Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Great, thank you, and we are adjourned.